Welcome to our Wednesday energy talk here on Skype, live, free, and accessible for everyone. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm a spiritual counselor, energy coach, and trainer of energy healers. And so many Wednesdays, I would like to comment and talk a little bit about those current collective energies, the time quality that we are in right now, which I think is very needed for many of us. These constant new revelations about this and this and this is starting to get very confusing. It makes it very difficult for us to, well, believe in anything, I would say. And I would like to take this keyword today to talk about what it actually is that we are experiencing when our beliefs and the values underneath our beliefs are put into question, maybe through new truths, or new events that show us that some of the things that we used to believe in that made up a big part of how we understand ourselves, how we understand others, and the world that we are in, and what that does to us when that boat gets rocked a bit. Yeah, what it does to our belief system, what it does to our energy, what it does to our bodies, to our emotions, and our thoughts. We also had an energy healing marathon here in these last 3 days, like sort of riding the waves of this energy here around the 3rd of July. And this is what we do here at transCODES. We work with those collective energies. So if this is still a little foggy for you, what this even means, collective energies, then transCODES is the place where you can learn this. We literally work with this every day, have workshops and all kinds of different training courses that help us to become more aware of what it is that we're perceiving and thus make more sense of what it is that we're experiencing. So I'm going to report a little bit about this spiritual emotional integration marathon that we had here in these last 3 days. Some of you may have been there. And please feel free to comment and share. Do you feel that there is stuff going on right now that is really difficult to process? Do you find this normal? Do you find this challenging? Or are you one of those who have been feeling this all along or seeing this all along and are kind of relieved now that all this is coming forward, that you are no longer the only one? Because that's what it seemed like for so long. Who notices that something isn't right? Does anybody want to share? Do you find this irritating? Do you find this scary? Do you find this, well, kind of like just the way it is, and you don't really know what to do with this? Or do you feel that this is the beginning of something new? And maybe something hopeful. Just give me a feel for where you guys are standing with your own personal subjective experience of these early July days. There is a forecast that I publish every month with a very detailed energetic analysis going all the way into the physical and the emotional and the spiritual and the energy centers that are being activated or challenged. You can look this up on my YouTube channel or website.
Hi.
Hi.
It's Annette from Denmark.
Hi, Denmark. Hi, Annette.
Well, I can say that earlier I have had much headache and things like that, but I have not paid so much attention to the collective. And I can feel that, yes, in the last 14 days, I'll say I have had much more pressure and I have been more tired. But now for the first time, I think I can say, oh, it's not mine, all of it. And I know now it's some of the collective, and it's much more relaxing for me when I have headache, that I know that, okay, other people feel the same as you, and yeah, it's easier for me, although I still have the headache. It's more okay.
It's this is huge, Annette. Thank you for sharing this. This is a really big step, a really big insight. Yeah, especially for those of us who tend to sort of intuitively perceive collective energies, not really knowing that what we're tapping into is not just our own stuff. It's also the stuff that everybody else is carrying around with them. And then, even a level farther, the sort of the energetic weather condition, and maybe even the cosmological weather condition. So that's a huge step to come to this place where you realize it's not just me. Yeah. What happens to us when we think it's all just us? Do you remember those days when you didn't really consider that there are other outer energies that are influencing the way you feel? Do you remember what that did to you? Or does it?
Yeah, it was much harder for me, because then I was so fixated on my pain, and it could give, judgment, self-judgmental, and so it could, yeah.
What is wrong with me?
Yeah, and
right?
yeah, all that
Questioning
kind of,
yourself.
yeah.
I'm not good enough. Why is it so hard for me? Everybody else seems all hunky-dory, right? I'm the only one.
Yeah, and yeah, a lot of things, yeah. Fear, and also fear sometimes, yeah.
And it doesn't feel safe, does it? Because it kind of, our own mind, in a way, starts singling ourselves out.
Yeah,
right?
and ruminating, and then I could, the headache could get to migraine, and yeah.
So for you personally, and this is also something that I encourage people to notice about themselves, this pressure of outer energies tends to accumulate in your head and tends to show up as head pressure, even headache, and perhaps even migraine.
Yeah.
What are some other symptoms that you guys experience, maybe beyond headaches? Is there anything that you noticed that your system responds to at times of like strong, say, outer energetic pressure or influx? What are some other possible symptoms that we can have that show us, that this isn't all just ours?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, mine is this sciatica and back pain. Yeah.
Back pain. Okay.
And yeah, so it started last year, September, October-ish.
Okay.
And it wasn't as intense as it is now, but it was like a bit. But at that time as well, I felt, oh, I'm the only one. Why am I getting this?
Where is the back pain located for you?
Lower back pain.
Lower back pain. Okay.
And the right hip, it's on the right side.
Yeah. So while there can obviously be physical conditions, so we can't, say it's all energy. That wouldn't be grounded. Okay. So there can obviously be physical conditions, and the older we get, the more unresolved things that we have kind of tend to densify in our body. They show up a lot of times they show up as sort of chronic things. Yeah. And that's the beauty of energy work, because we can use our knowledge about where something is showing up to identify what the energetic quality of that pain is that we are experiencing. Obviously, we have a physical pain that puts us into all the well-known places, right? Like we don't want to, maybe we can't perform the way we want to perform and so forth. So we have that to deal with, but there can also be like something in us responding to us, trying to signal something to us. Now, Dippy, you're saying this here in conjunction with what I just asked, namely, you know, this feeling of being singled out. And lower back pain, often associated or radiating out from the hip. Yeah, so there's many reasons. I'm not orthopedist or chiropractor, so there's people that can explain that better to you, or you can Google this. But this hip misalignments, yeah, that are often radiating out, or posture issues, or things that have to do with our skeletal system just simply not aligned right, due to, let's say, us getting stuck in a certain thought or a certain emotion, yeah, like stuckness. So skeletal stuff and joint stuff is often associated with inner resistance and stuckness, yeah. And when it's in the lower back, it actually correlates with support. So there's something about your life that, you know, you don't feel like you are supported enough, yeah, and maybe also connected enough to make the necessary steps to move forward. So that's the hip. The hip always shows up when we're not really moving forward. The hip in our mobility apparatus is what gives the thrust to the forward motion in a metaphorical sense. Yeah, and our feet.
Yeah, you are right. You're completely right.
Do you know what I mean? So that's,
well. Yeah.
now, is this a collective thing or is this a personal thing? Now, the thing is here, and this is the beauty of being an energy coach, is that there usually is a connection. So when collective energies intensify, yeah, the very things that we cannot see or that we don't want to see, yeah, come forward. Yeah, they get intensified as well. They get amplified as well. Yeah, and right now, this is why I do these energy forecasts. I don't know if you had the opportunity to watch this or to read this. It really is about making a step forward. And this came in October last year. Yeah, I actually referred to that in the forecast. Yeah. It started in October, and since then, we were supposed to review, we were supposed to weed out, we were supposed to determine what truly matters to us, what we truly need, and what we truly want. Yeah, where we want to go in our direction based on who we are today, how we understand ourselves today. And we're now entering the phase where we need to make choices, where we need to act according to these inner drives, yeah, to change something. That is a collective energy. But if your particular, say, process, yeah, is located in that area, then you will feel this right there where it can show it to you. Someone like Annette, who has more of a headache problem, yeah, the signal is a different one. The signal is stop thinking too much, yeah. Annette, you mentioned the ruminating, right? And it's aware to you that you think too much about it. So if you think too much, or if you cannot move forward in your own thinking. Yeah, the mental construct, not the skeletal, but the mental construct. And the problem lies more in the how you think about things, how you see things. When these very similar signals, but located in other areas of our system come up, such as the skeletal system, then that is always related to actually making a move, making a step. You can actually hear this in the language. Our language is very metaphorical in that way. Yeah. So there's something that wants to move forward, Libby. And subjectively, you don't feel enough support to do that. So you hold yourself back. Yeah. And that's, well, if this persists, we call this stuckness. You're stuck there because you can't make a decision. So seen from an energetic point of view, this will most likely not reside until you gain more clarity about what it actually is that needs to become unstuck. Yeah. You may not be able to make this move or this step right away, but energies already respond to a shift in your attitude, to a shift in your perspective, to a shift in your judgment, for example. Yeah, where you begin to see your inner signaling not as a punishment or, like victimhood, but as something that you're grateful for because it is informing you what you need to focus on. Sorry. It is informing you what you need to focus on. So this was just an example here, Debbie, how we can use these symptoms that we're experiencing, which are very different for each and every one of us. Yeah. To learn something, to grow, yeah, to expand. And most of this right now, because I called the month of July for the energy alignment for shift, change, actually, to be precise. You can also look that up on my website and listen to the energy alignment that helps your energy to tune into what I am expressing with words here. Yeah. So shift is what needs to happen. And what comes forward for us in times like this, especially when this comes, well, almost like with a hammer, like you got to shift now. Okay. Yeah. In October, we had sort of the forewarning, the foreboding of it. Yeah. You're going to have to shift pretty soon. Well, that soon is now. Yeah. This is the time now, the second half of the year. So with this new moon on July 3rd, we had the official halfway mark, of our calendar year. This second part of the year is for making moves, is for actualization, as we call this, putting things into action. It is no longer enough just to think about it or just to dip our toes and, look at some of the truths, but stay with our old belief system or old narrative, because that is the one that got us stuck in the first place. So one of the things that we need to recognize when it comes to feeling stuck, whatever that is, whether you feel stuck in your job or in your relationship or, in life altogether, maybe you feel stuck in a place. You don't feel good in the town or the house that you're in. Maybe you feel stuck in your head. Yeah, when nothing makes sense. Maybe you feel stuck in your emotions, where all you can think of or feel is negative emotions. So when we get stuck, this can play out in many different ways. And the reason why a shift is needed is because the very pattern that got us there is obviously flying under our radar. Yeah. So if it was obvious for us that our negative thoughts, our negative emotions, our negative attitudes produce this or that kind of pain, well, we would stop doing it, wouldn't we? But apparently there was something in us that makes it either invisible for us, we call this unconscious, or we simply don't want to change. Sean, you're calling this holding on, and that's exactly what it is. Except for right now, we have an intensity coming in, that is severely sort of pushing us forward. So if we hold on, can you picture this? If you hold on like white knuckle to something, it will indeed hold you back. So actually right now is a really good time to serve those energies, to serve them like a windsurfer, because they will drive you forward. So it's actually something fortunate because we are actually forced in a way, to grow, to move forward. And yes, sometimes the very things that we have been feeling deep within ourselves all along that we know we kind of need to change, that are not sustainable, that are not working for us, we hang on to them for nostalgia's sake, or sort of giving ourselves excuses and justifications. That maybe just one more round. One more time. This is the sort of the attitude behind this. I already know it's not working, but let me just try one more time. That comes from our ego. So what is holding us back is a combination of our physical, and our fears that come with the physical, our emotional, the hanging on to old things, or having this fear of confrontation, or simply wanting it, like a fantasy. I want the happy ending. That's coming from a desire place in us, or mentally where it's we can't let go of the investment, of all the energy, all the effort that we've put into a certain idea. It made the investment so high, the stakes so high, that we don't want to let them go. We don't really want to believe that, quote unquote, all was for nothing. Which creates conflicts in our heads. So this, when we get stuck in such a place, and we've talked about this the last 2 weeks actually, it's very important that we can step outside the box, and ask ourselves, if there was no fears, no fears of the unknown, no fears of change, if you had total freedom, to do, to believe, to live, to love, to think, and to be in the way that you want to be, what would you do differently? And a lot of times, especially if you do this with, or in a state of like deeper connection, like, anything, mindfulness that can get you into a deeper state of self-reflection, contemplation, or meditation. The answers that come forward are often very revealing. And this is something that we experienced here throughout these last 3 days. We're consciously diving deep into these energies, with a modality called grace integrity that leads us to becoming able to better integrate all of this. So there's a lot of things that have been going on. There's a lot of things that we intellectually perceive, but our emotions still kind of need to catch up on that. Yeah, so we are a little bit behind. Many of us are, whether you're aware of it or not, still repressing your true feelings. And from an emotional, from an energetic standpoint, we can only heal what we can feel. So a big part of this grace integrity modality is to actually, go in, learn how to breathe through, say what is bugging you, and it's facilitated in a way that, it helps you to pinpoint these areas that need to be looked at. Yeah, because a lot of times we get a little confused when it comes to self-reflecting, because we see this is not right and this is not right and that is not right, and this is bugging me and that, and we kind of get sort of tangled up. Yeah, we get tangled up in the totality of it without being able to actually pinpoint what we need to change. Can you guys relate to this? Yeah, is this hard sometimes for you to even know what you need to change? Anybody ever felt like, okay, yeah, I'm ready, but what? Or you try something so hard and it's not working out. What does this mean? Does it mean it's all for nothing? Yeah. Or does it maybe mean that you had the wrong attitude to it, that you wanted it for the wrong reasons, maybe? So sometimes the shift can also happen just within your attitude towards something, toward what is happening to you and what it is revealing to you. But before you can even begin to discern this, you first have to learn how to stand in your emotions, how to breathe through them. And the way we do this, guys, is through finding this gateway within ourselves, our heart, which is not the physical heart, but the heart center, which is basically the organ that all of us have. It's also a repository of information. Science confirms this, So it's not just, the part in us that pumps the blood and the oxygen. The field, the electromagnetic field that is around the heart, is actually one that contains more information than our brain, and also longer. It retains it longer, even after the brain is dead. Interesting, right? Anyhow, the heart functions as a gateway to our higher consciousness. And when we focus on our hearts through all these modalities, mindfulness, I am breathing, etc., we're sending extremely important signals within our own system that we are ready to change our perspective, that we are ready to shift our perspective from experiencing life just from this sort of what I call body-mind perspective, right? With the physical, the emotional, and the intellectual being the dominating senses, to a more holistic perspective where we don't just have our thoughts and have our emotions and have our sensations about something that is happening to us, but where we're also having a higher perspective, a higher vantage point that informs us about the spiritual aspects of that and the energetic aspects. People always stare at me with this blank expression in their minds or in their faces when they ask me, Jona, well, how can I find fulfillment? How can I, make choices that lead me to more happiness or peace or, healing in my life? And when I answer, those are very, very good questions, but you have to first understand that those are spiritual questions. Happiness, fulfillment. love, peace. Those are immaterial states. Those are energetic states. Those are not physical states. Physical as in 3D. So the answer, yeah, if you've, let's say, if you've used all the tools that you have, right, in 3D and you know, emotionally and mentally, and you've done mental coaching and all kinds of self-growth things and stuff, and you do your affirmations every day, and you drum, and you have you know, crystals, and you do all kinds of stuff, yeah, that you were told will lead you to this, okay, and yet you were not there at all, okay, then it's a sign for you to shift the way you're approaching this, yeah. And when it comes to these immaterial goals, yeah, which I called values at the beginning of this talk, those are values, yeah. It's very important that we have this clarity about what we want most. But before we can decide fully what we want, we first have to recognize that there are things that we need. Yeah, things we need. Without them, and the peace doesn't really matter. And this is how you unstuck yourself. Okay, you sort of go back to the basics, yeah. You wind it all back up, okay, and then you say, okay, let me look at who I am today. Let me look at what my beliefs are about the world, about life, and about myself. Let me evaluate how I see my ability to change. Let me evaluate where I'm standing here. Remember, when you want to go to a new place, yeah, and you know, take your phone and put the address in there, it cannot map it out for you if you don't know where you're at. You need to put in your location. Yeah, and that's kind of like what we need to do right now. We really need to become more aware of all these different aspects and components of what is holding us back, yeah, and what it is that we truly need now. And you can hear this already. It's complicated because, you know, what if I believe, you know, that this is the way it has to be? Then I'm limiting myself in options. I cannot see other options because that belief, yeah, means that it keeps me in a box, yeah. It limits my mind. What if I, you know, have this really strong conviction or desire, yeah, to, let's say, spend my life with, you know, you. It's a very strong emotional drive, and you tell me that you don't love me anymore. Okay, I need to change something here in my emotional capacity, because if somebody does not love me anymore, then I need to ask myself, well, do I still want this? Yeah, does this still align? Does this still match up with how I want this? And the same for our bodies, guys. Yeah, our body is also an organic system. Don't forget that. It responds to our thoughts and emotions. If we feed ourselves with thoughts, yeah, that we confirm that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve, that there's nothing we can do, and we, on top of that, energize it through emotions, yeah, that make us feel small, desperate, sad, resentful, perhaps even, then the result of that cannot be something better than we have right now. We cannot manifest a better state, yeah, with feeding our own system, yeah, with crappy thoughts and crappy emotions. So spiritual emotion integration has to do with us recognizing that we are, as a whole, a system that needs to be experienced from a higher vantage point, not just with the body, not just with emotions, not just with thoughts, but also with consciousness and also with purpose. The biggest issue that we're experiencing in our societies right now, yeah, is a crisis of meaning. Everything seems so meaningless. Everything seems so purposeless. I don't know. Let me know if you know a better word without purpose. Everything seems so futile. And we feel powerless. And that, my dears, is exactly what you need to counteract right now. Yeah, because if you allow those kind of collective energies that are telling you that no matter what you do, you're going to be screwed, can't change anything, it's all going to go down the drainer, you don't have any power, etc., you will not be able to shift. And so today, I came here to tell you that this is quite serious now. I mean, I've been doing these lectures, yeah, and these trainings for over 15 years now, announcing, yeah, that we are looking at a huge bifurcation and that this is affecting our consciousness. I've been talking about how our consciousness is being hijacked and how there is a battle over our consciousness and our spirit going on out there. And I know what this sounds like, but mark my words here, this is going to show up within this year as the formation of a whole new kind of religion, yeah, cult religion. And you have to be able to recognize that. The lack of purpose, the lack of meaning, the lack of power drives people into a new way of spiritual error perception. And that is that the salvation, yeah, the redemption or the, solution lies outside of them, lies outside of this planet. Yeah, that we need higher beings, that we need other planets, that we need technology, we need augmentation, we need artificial intelligence, we need all these outer, technology comes from us and it's cool and all that we can do this. But if our mind is getting hijacked into believing that we need all of this in order to grow, in order to evolve, then we're selling our soul for cheap, if I might add. You guys have already expressed your volition. You've already expressed your willingness, probably just due to your own history, being somewhat of an outcast or a fringe dweller. Energetically sensitives and empaths have been the outcasts in the last 20, 30 years. So just simply enduring that, you've already expressed your willingness to stand up for yourself, for your soul. So what we learned in this marathon, for those of you who were there, as we were going through these 72 hours, intensely working with these energies, what we discovered there are the different components of what we need to work with and on. And guess what? Those aren't external. Those are all internal. That's an inside job. Growth, evolution is programmed into you. It's your divine nature. You don't need any tools from the outside to do this. You just need good conditions, loving conditions, truthful conditions, conditions that allow you the freedom to choose. And this is something that we now, as an antidote, need to refocus on. So all of you out there who have a hard time knowing what to do, who feel powerless or who feel stuck, take this as your prescription. Obviously, you need to work with, your inside, your inner experience. Yeah, so contemplation, meditation. I know it's hard when you're low, when you're in physical pain, when you're ruminating. It's really, really hard to do this. So just do it for 5 minutes a day. Yeah? And go in and work with trust, whether you can trust yourself or whether what is blocking you has to do with all these broken promises that you made to yourself and others. Work with your courage. Ask yourself if you've been truthful with yourself here, because you have been so willing to see truth, but haven't really had the courage to step forward. The only thing that really makes a difference in our society is collaboration. And anything that diverts us from collaboration, that separates us, that excludes us, works against change, against growth. Just as a tip here. So courage is this drive in us that is triggered right now, to step into action, to actually follow through, to actualize these insights that you have been carrying around with you. They want to come, they need to come to an expression. And what follows next is this responsibility. You recognize that if you rest in a place where you say to yourself, you have no powers, nothing you can do, it's all going down the drain, you are giving up your responsibility. You're handing this over, you're externalizing it. And therefore, your worst fears confirm themselves. Then when it comes to actually tuning into what could help you out of your stuckness, the tool, your heart, like really feeling it from within yourself and allowing, this light, this Christ light that many of you have already experienced maybe once or twice, where you felt so connected with everything. Many of you can experience this through connecting with nature. To allow this to come in and to fill you up. Because as you do that, it reveals purpose to you. So connecting with the earth and connecting with the sun, these representations of divine mother and divine father energy is part of that pathway that we need to choose in order to grow into our higher potential, our higher consciousness that can then inform us about what this choice, what this power struggle, what this drama that is going on right now is even all about. It's all about your consciousness and your spirit. And once you realize this, through working with your heart center, through working with your breath, through simply focusing on wanting to be that person that expresses, all these values that you have, you will recognize that this strengthens you. This filling up your cup, makes you stronger, and it actually repels all these dense and dark energies. And once you've experienced this often enough, that's why this needs to be trained. Yeah, you begin to have a new, updated navigator for what needs to be done, what you need to discern, yeah, what is truth, what is not truth, what is love, what is not love, what is of the light and what is dark. That navigator is now completely initiated to your own individuated soul in the here and now and at all times. And that one allows you to navigate even the spiritual and the energetic stuff. This, in a nutshell, is what we worked on here in these last 72 hours. And there was a lot that came forward as we were working through these different layers. But the best of all, yeah, so anyone who gets interested here by me reporting about this, is that we could feel it within ourselves. We had an inner experience of this. That is what I am assisting people with, and all these beautiful energy healers that have trained with me, yeah, to understand what the antidote for these dark energies that we are dealing with these days, these years to come, what the antidote is to them. It's through your heart, into your higher consciousness, into your I am, your individuated soul. That is all that matters. Now, if you would like to learn this in a systematic way, you actually can. This Saturday is what I call the energy course. Starting again, it's a 6-week class, 2 live classes a week with an online course section, lots of write-ups, lots of infographics, lots of, ability for your mind to catch up. Very systematic. If you are part of our Sacred Self-Healing community, then you have, as always, a discount there. By the way, that's also another reason why being a member, in the Sacred Self-Healing program makes a lot of sense, because you get discounts pretty much with all products that I have. So take this home with you and work it from within. Whatever the signals are that are coming forward right now, whatever it is that you are struggling with, put it aside, go into your heart, ground with the earth, connect with the sun. Actually, this time around, do it the other way around. Connect with the sun, connect with the earth, bring it into your heart. And then think again with your higher mind, yeah, and with your higher consciousness. And you will find answers there. You will find solutions. Thank you so much for coming. I did not leave a lot of space here for you to comment. So please do this either here in Skype in the thread, yeah, Daily Sacred Self, online meditation thread, or go to my YouTube channel maybe tonight, where the video will be posted as a recording. Thank you so much for all of you who shared. Yeah, you guys are the energy that helps other people to have new insights. I'm just a broken record, I keep talking about the same things over and over again in a slightly different version. But when you share your insights, guys, that's huge. Okay? All right. Thank you, everybody. Stay conscious. See you soon. Bye-bye.